Okay, go again. Alright, we've made a bit of progress here. We've had a few issues to resolve. Things weren't fitting properly, and I have actually had it tacked on there and then I took it off again because there was things not working, and I needed to find out why it wasn't working and sort it out. Anyway, the main issue was the underguard, the wheel arch, or the underside of the wheel arch, the guard, because so this had a major dent just at the back of the wheel arch, and as I said before, I cut a bit out because it was rusted and all dented up, putting a new piece in, and I sort of knew when I was putting it in that it probably wouldn't fit the guard and I'd have to adjust it a bit, but it was actually a bit low and it was stopping the guard from going in place. So I've actually cut that whole bit out again. I can fit that in later. I think it's better than not to have the outer quarter out of place. Get that spot on, and then put other bits back in later. That's the piece I cut right out, and it won't really be an issue welding it back in. We'll probably wait till I've got it off the chassis actually, do it when I can access it easier. As mentioned before, I did cut this back too far. I'd marked the line, and then when I tried it up against the panel, it didn't look like it was going to work. At the time, this was still overlapping. I hadn't bent it. So I moved the line, and then when I got it on there, it wasn't right, and I found that the first line I drew was actually right, and I should have just gone ahead and bended that the original line. Anyway, so I re-bent it, and not terribly good, I might add. I'm not a panel beater, but anyway, that's actually pushed in a little bit. I'll push it out. I'll spot weld it from up top when it's all done, and then I'll get the dolly in there and try to clean it up a little bit more. And you can't fold an edge where it's rolled like this. It just doesn't work. And I thought, well, that's already short, so I'll cut it right back to where the flat panel is, and I'll make a piece to fit in there with the fold and everything. So I've got a tack there. As you can see, I've got clamps everywhere holding it. I'm using pieces of wood. I don't want to mark the panel with the clamp. I've drilled all the holes down here. Probably previously showed that. I might not have. And to deburr it, I've actually used a because it's got the burrs on the inside. Normally I just get the angle grinder and knock the burrs off, but I don't want to take all the paint off. So what I've actually used is a countersunking wood tip to deburr it. I've got another tack on the back here, and to hold it up into place, I've tacked the inner panel back in, so I know that this inside edge, that's holding it up because it was low, and so as I said, by putting this back in now, I know that this is in the right place. I've only tacked it, and I will have to take it out again. The reason being is that I haven't drilled all these holes yet. All the way along here. You can see I've marked it, and I start marking it, and then I thought, well, I don't know where the holes are from where I drilled out the spot welds in the under panel. So yeah, I stopped marking it, and what I will be doing is, after I've removed that, I'll sit up and I'll mark it so I know I'm in between each of the holes, the previous holes. Like you can see one just there, that's a previous spot weld that's drilled out. So what I don't want to be doing is drilling new holes straight on top of it and having a big hole to fill. So yeah, it'll be either side of each of the previous of the drill holes. It's sort of unfortunate to put it in and then tack it in and then have to take it out again, but anyway, that's the way it is. I said I couldn't really mark or drill these holes because I have to know where the holes are underneath. But anyway, not that big an issue. So I've got clamps everywhere. I will also put these bolts in. They've lined up well, so I'll put the two of those bolts in before I do any more welding. I've got a clamp underneath, pushing it up. This one here, pushing it up so it meets the under panel, and then another one here pushing it in. So you can see I've got pieces of wood because the end of the clamp will mark the panel. It'll put a dent in it. So by having a piece of wood there, I'm not damaging it. And I've done the same here. It actually didn't want to go forward. It wouldn't go forward before I cut the wheelie arch out anyway. Possibly might even have to, this part here might be the problem. I might get that a little bit of a tap shortly. So I think that's actually holding it back a bit. As I said, yeah, this whole wheel arch was bent way out of shape, so like not on the new panel, on the old one, so yeah, we can't work off that. We have to work off the new panel. The other thing too I've done is I've put a couple of Tex screws in here with a little bit of plate just to hold this in. It'll be easy enough to weld the holes up afterwards. Once this is all welded in from the back. The other thing I will do before welding any of this front, I've tacked it. I'll put another tack down here somewhere. Probably two tacks, one in the middle, one down the bottom. And then I'm going to fit the door and check that it works with the door. As I said, I've actually pulled it in here so it meets up with the vent, but I don't know if I've pulled it in too far, and I won't know until I get the door on. So rather than weld it all and then put the door on and find out it doesn't fit and have to take it all off again, I'll fit the door and make sure it's right. We have gaps along here. We got it meeting in places and not meeting in other places. I said this popped out, and I thought that would probably be out to where it's supposed to be, but it's not. I'm going to have to push that back in. That does actually close the gap, but it'll be a matter of, because this is bent. There is a dent here in this top. There's a dent here in this top panel. That's where the original dent ran. It was here, right back here, like that. So yeah, I'll pull it in where it actually meets properly. I'll tack it. I'll do a proper plug weld. And I'll go along wherever else it meets properly, and I'll weld that. And then where it doesn't work properly, I'll work on this top panel to make it fit the bottom. And that's assuming, and I probably shouldn't assume, I should check it, but that's assuming that the actual new panel is straight across the top there. You would expect it to be, but previous experience tells me that things aren't always how they're supposed to be, so yeah, I will check it before doing anything else. But yeah, so that's basically how far we've got. It's taken a lot of mucking around just to get it to all fit into place. And yeah, we're close enough now to start doing some welding. As I said, I'll put a few more tacks in the back. Tacking in a few places, actually get the clamps off. Had that off at the door. And see how we go. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.